What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the fourth album, mixtape, EP, whatever you want to call it, from Drake, the Canadian rapper, hip-hop artist, singer, whatever you want to call him, because he has a lot of talents, does a lot of different things. This album is called If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media sites. Those are all linked down below. Of course, my vlog channel is down there as well. If you'd like to see what I'm up to from week to week, of course, it's down there in the links, along with the link to donate to the channel if you would like to help out the channel, help the reviews keep coming on a more regular basis. So Drake's upcoming studio album is supposedly called Views from the Six. He announced it last July, I believe it was. And I think that this is what we're getting, possibly as a lead up to that, or possibly as a replacement. Views from the Six, aka The View from Toronto, I think is what that is supposed to refer to. Kind of how he sees things, how he sees life, etc. I think personally that it's probably taking the place of Views from the Six just because there are so many references to sixes on this record. I mean, 6 p.m. in New York, 6 Man, 6 God, etc., etc. I don't think that he would make another record with that many references to sixes and the area codes, but then again, maybe I'm completely wrong and he has something else in vision for this project. All we need to know for now is that instead of Views, we have If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, this new album, mixtape, EP, whatever the hell you want to call it, and, well, from Drake, it's exactly what we could expect from the man at this point in his career. Playing it safe, not necessarily, but the man definitely has his stick down. I mean, I will say that the album is much less sexual in nature. There's a lot less talk of relationships and more of a focus on his place in music, and I guess his relationship with other artists in the scene, his beef with them, and his innermost thoughts on tracks like You and the Six, and of course, Jungle, the one that got the music video. The album's slightly more reserved in its approach, as Drake often opts for a more relaxed delivery style instead of quick wordplay over a more energetic instrumental. It's not that a lot of these tracks are boring necessarily, it's just that this album is so long and it doesn't exactly justify that long 68-minute runtime with a lot of interesting content. The beats don't exactly have me on the edge of my seat, and it's not that they necessarily gripped me really strong in the past, it's just that I've always found something to like, something to keep coming back to, and it's not that this album is unlikable, it's just that I'm not seeing a ton of standout cuts that are going to make me keep coming back to this album. Looking back, I can recall Best I Ever Had from So Far Gone, Up All Night from Thank Me Later, Headlines from Take Care, and of course Wu-Tang Forever from Nothing Was the Same. There's something from everything that he's released that I keep coming back to over the years and gravitating towards, but I don't think that this project necessarily has as many standout tracks. Like I said though, I think that this might be a bit of a transitional piece for Drake, and I'm trying to treat it as so. Really starting to dive into the record itself and talk about some of these tracks, I think that it does start off with a solid pace. Legend is a bit braggadocious in nature, but I mean, come on, it's not like it's like too over the top, not in an unlikable sense like other artists tend to do these days. Yeah, he definitely gets carried away later in the record with a lot of repetitive tracks that kind of talk about the exact same things, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm not exactly head over heels for the production here, but seeing Drake tackle insecurities and throw in doses of confidence here on the hook is enough to keep me from passing on the track. He feeds off of his thoughts on that track and tackles a couple of tricky subjects in the songs that follow after, like the synth-driven Know Yourself, and of course, Energy. There's definitely nothing revolutionary here. In fact, Energy seems like a companion piece to Lil Wayne and Drake's track Believe Me, that's supposedly a single from Lil Wayne's upcoming and much delayed album, The Carter 5. Hell, I even feel like it seems a little bit similar to Started From the Bottom, the lead single from Drake's last studio album. Even though it does have that familiar sounding instrumental, I can't deny that it's one of my favorite tracks from this project. I think his personal life and ongoing feuds have definitely bled into the subject matter on this track and really trickled all throughout this record. His personal life is definitely no secret anymore, and it seems like the man is beefing himself up here, giving himself a pep talk on the track. Another track in that opening section is called Bands, and it's definitely one of the most memorable tunes on here, with a slick, quick-moving beat and a chorus that should be an easy favorite for fans to chant along with. We dive into his relationship with his mother on the track You and the Six, and see things kind of from her point of view, Drake speaks of how she feels kind of disconnected from her son as he's grown into a superstar, not really replying to her texts anymore. She's having to keep up with him from what she sees in the headlines and the tabloids. It's definitely nice to see him empathize with her, and it's one of the most personal and sincere, down-to-earth moments on the record. But come on, Drake, how many times can you say the word mama? It's just like every line. It irks me to no end whenever a rapper will rhyme every line with the same word. I mean, I can think of times when Lil Wayne's done it, a bunch of other artists, I'm not going to call out any other names, but damn it, that gets annoying. I'm not particularly impressed with Six God, as at this point it feels like just more of the same. It features one of the most spirited beats on the record, one of the more upbeat and energized one, I will say that, but the lyrical content is just so recycled. Already on this album, he's had a couple of tracks that discuss his place in music and about how he's not concerned with his haters or his enemies. It's just another example of how Drake's likable persona is definitely wearing thin. Maybe it's time to mix things up a little bit. A brighter spot, I got to the track Six Man for the first time and I was like, alright, this is definitely more my style. It's kind of got this creeping electronic tinged beat. There's a nice melody there that helps Six Man stand out from the pack. It's got a nice dark and atmospheric outro on it that just gives it the perfect ending and makes it a definite highlight for me on this album. Drake rides some rather relaxed flows and instrumentals on tracks like Madonna, Now and Forever, and Star 67, and while those are just kind of middle-of-the-road cuts for me, I definitely think that the two worst songs on this thing, at least for me personally, are the ones that feature Party Next Door. Kind of the PB, R&B, that whole genre style thing. One of Drake's proteges signed to his label along with I Love McConan. Two people that I am definitely not into at all. Honestly, I think they're pretty talentless. After saying that, you can probably tell how I feel about the back-to-back tracks Preach and Wednesday Night Interlude. Of course, Wednesday night, because on Tuesday night, they had the club going up, so you gotta take a break on Wednesday, of course. Two skippable tracks right there for me. I think everyone was wondering what Drake was up to after he released a short film for the track Jungle. Is it a single? Maybe, possibly. It did get a video, so we'll see if that starts getting radio play, but I definitely like this track because it mixes things up. Sees the man singing on this cut more than he has on the majority of the tracks on. If you're reading this, it's too late. It's definitely grown on me a lot, and I find that it does justify its 5-minute runtime with a nice brooding atmosphere and an exploration of this man's innermost thoughts. Is that a horn that I'm hearing in the background of the track from time to time? I also have to compliment that nice touch of keyboard and the vocal sample that's kind of rolling all throughout this thing to make it one of the most enjoyable songs overall. The last track that I'll mention is one that I am very surprised that I'm kind of enjoying. It's definitely not an overall favorite, but still, I don't think it's bad by any means. It's called Used To, and it features rapper Lil Wayne, who at this point in his career has definitely gone, well, downhill big time. I did like the track Believe Me that he did with Drake. I mentioned that one earlier, although I did not like the follow-up singles Crazy or Grindin' at all. The track Used To definitely proves that it's hard to have a Lil Wayne or Drake project without a Drake or Lil Wayne feature. Seriously, those two are together all the time. They even feature together on tracks these days. While Wayne is my least favorite part of the song, with his voice seemingly very high-pitched and a little bit out of range on this one, he's not exactly worthy of my hate. There are problems deeper than a Lil Wayne feature on this new album. Overall, though, the features are kept to a minimum, and it's leaving us to decide one thing, really. How much do we really like Drake? Do we want to spend 68 minutes with just him for the most part? Me personally, I'm kind of torn, somewhere right down the middle. Drake's a likable enough MC that gets picked on a lot for being the emotionally in-check rapper that is crying in his bedroom, or people listen to Drake whenever they're going through a tough time or a breakup or something like that. He gets a lot of shit that he doesn't deserve. But I feel like we see a lot less of that here on this record, and definitely see him being more aggressive and assertive towards his enemies and kind of just beefing himself up, like I said earlier, and kind of saying, hey, like, back off. I'm still tough. I do have emotions, but at the same time, I can fend for myself here. It's almost an even split between the quicker flows and the more laid-back reflective jams. Some work, some definitely do not. If you're reading this, It's Too Late is a 3 out of 5 for me. So if you've heard the new record from Drake that he just kind of dropped out of the blue, I believe it was to line up with the 6th anniversary of his first mixtape, So Far Gone, dropping, then let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below, and make sure you smash the like button on this video to let me know that you like it, want to see more reviews, planning on doing Imagine Dragons' new record next. I know, a lot of you are cringing, and I'm kind of cringing my way through listening to it. It's not all awful, but we'll get to that in the next review. Thank you so much for watching, donating to the channel if you are able to help, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV.